Hi everybody. Today is Wednesday. They took out the garbage today. And so that means it must be Wednesday. And today we are talking about Bill Clinton. So I've got a little bit of a different interpretation of Bill Clinton than I did for George H.W. Bush. Bill Clinton became President of the United States after Bush had only one term. And one of the problems with George H.W. Bush is that Republicans were iffy about him, especially moderates who had voted for him, because they saw the tax increase to decrease the deficit as a betrayal. So Bill Clinton got a chance, and he was a two-term president. His story is very different than George H.W. Bush. Bill Clinton had studied in England when he was in college and had participated in Vietnam War draft protests. And he was an anti-war advocate. So when he came back to the United States, he tried to secure a position in an ROTC program when he came back to study here domestically. And then ultimately he decided that it was somewhat disingenuous to actively attempt to pursue a way around the draft through an ROTC program. So he wrote publicly that to pursue a career in politics, he would simply have to accept the fact that the draft was a reality and throw his name in the pool. And so he received a draft number of 311, which is very high. No draft number higher than 195 was ever called. So Clinton had virtually no chance of being drafted. His deferment was expiring, and so he entered the draft. And so he did honor his citizen commitment to put his name in for the draft, but he avoided it for a long time with an overseas school deferment and with his pursuit of an ROTC program. So when the war ended, he finished his degree, he got a law degree, he became governor of Arkansas, and after he was governor of Arkansas, he worked in a variety of politically related jobs until he ran for president. And once he became president of the United States, he is unfortunately known for a scandal that characterized his presidency. But I don't want to talk about that first. I'd like to say something good first. And the good news is that Clinton he presided over some of the largest economic successes we've had in America since World War II. He is the only president who saw a budget surplus during his administration since World War II. And that's pretty amazing. Now, the Cold War had come to an end, and so we were not spending as much, but still, a budget surplus is an amazing thing. And he didn't have to engage in the kinds of taxation we did in the 1950s to accomplish it. So if you're interested in getting rid of deficit spending, maybe take a look at Bill Clinton. Now, unfortunately, that is where the good news ends for the Clinton administration. He used the military as the first tool in foreign affairs way too often. In fact, if you saw the movie Black Hawk Down, that disaster is a Bill Clinton disaster. He sent the military to Somalia on a peacekeeping mission without ever understanding that you have to have some kind of exit strategy or win condition. And we didn't. We had no idea what was going on in Somalia. We didn't even try to find out before we went. We just thought that it was regional warlords, which is a name for the people who run society when society collapses. And Somalia had failed to achieve a functional government that was able to provide for the people. So they provided for themselves. He then sent troops to Rwanda under the auspices of the United Nations. And we didn't stop the genocide there. Our troop deployment was largely a failure. He sent troops to Bosnia and Herzegovina, which didn't stop all the violence. It stopped a little bit of it, but we became involved in local politics, and that's a tough job for the U.S. military. They don't want to be doing that. He presided over our troops in Iran. He hunted for Osama bin Laden. He sent troops to Kosovo, into Iraq. Sorry, I said Iran earlier. I meant Iraq. We did not send troops into Iran. So you can strike that. We had a little bit of a problem in Belgrade, Yugoslavia. We were involved in a peacekeeping mission there, and Clinton had promised our troops to almost everything the United Nations wanted to do. And during a bombing run somewhere, a bombing mission in Belgrade, we accidentally hit the Chinese embassy, killing 3 Chinese journalists. That's really not a positive thing, and you just got to wonder, how often do you want to put our troops in those kinds of situations where things can go wrong? Because it went really wrong in Somalia, it went wrong in Belgrade. And I'm not 100% sure that Clinton understood what the military was for. He tried to see it as a peacekeeping tool. But the military is designed to break things. And our military is really good at breaking things. As I said yesterday, after the first Iraq war, nobody's going to stand on a battlefield and try to face us toe-to-toe. So, and I hope they don't. It would be disastrous for everybody. So, the public image of Bill Clinton is largely shaped by a singular event. President Clinton had an intimate relationship with a 22-year-old White House intern named Monica Lewinsky. And she has since moved on with her life. But the problem is that he was the president, and he was at the highest position of authority, and she unfortunately was at the lowest position of authority. And Bill Clinton took advantage of that difference in positions of authority. And, you know, we condemn people who are priests who would engage in sexual misconduct, or teachers who would engage in sexual misconduct, or Boy Scout leaders. I mean, those are tropes. And anytime someone in a position of authority uses that authority to gain any sort of advantage over someone that is under their authority, it is worthy of investigation. And so Congress opened an investigation. The impeachment articles were brought against Clinton for having lied during the investigation. The House of Representatives brought charges, which is an impeachment, and Bill Clinton was found not guilty in a Senate trial. And the problem is that when asked if he had had sex with Monica Lewinsky, he said no, because in his semantics, he considered what they did not to be sex. And there was one time, they televised the interview, and there was a moment where he asked, "What is the meaning of is?" And that was lawyer speak. That was Bill Clinton, the lawyer, trying to use semantics to get out of the fact that he had mischaracterized his abuse of authority over someone who worked for him. And unfortunately for him, that's the legacy of Bill Clinton. Anyone who talks about him, that's the first thing that comes to mind. And he was a 2-term president. He didn't get his health care. He wanted to reform health care and never quite got that done. And so in terms of lasting impact, I would say it's less than a lot of people. He's often ranked higher than some, but the public had a positive image of him. He went on the Arsenio Hall show at one point, playing saxophone, and who doesn't love that? So we have a good memory of him, but it is marred, of course, by scandal and impeachment. So I hope you have something fun planned for inside today, because it's pretty dull gray outside. I wish you the best today, and I will see you tomorrow.